it's Kara Jane, and today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my diagnosis story. So I was diagnosed in October of 2017, as you may know, but now I'm just going to dive a little bit deeper into the actual story of what it was like for me and my family. So first of all, I had gone to a lock-in at my church, and it was overnight, and when I got home, my brother and my mom were at the hospital, and that was a big shock for me, and I was like, what's wrong? And it was something with my brother's kidneys. He has kidney failure, so something had gone wrong, and they were at the hospital, so I was home with my dad and my sister. So for a couple weeks they were at the hospital, and we actually visited them, and they were fine, and everything was okay, but I had to spend weeks at the house with my dad and my sister, and just doing homework and continuing with life. And we went to visit my mom and my brother one more time in the hospital before they came home, I think, and God just told my mom, he was like, don't lose Kara. And she was like, well, what does that mean? She didn't know what that meant, but then she noticed that I was like super skinny. Like, I was 13 years old, I was like this high, which I'm 5'8", so 13-year-old, 5'8", I was probably 5'6" at the time, because I'm 16 now, but like, I was tall and I was 70 pounds, and that was just not a good combination. So I was like a stick, a literal stick. I was a stick. And so he just told her, don't lose Kara. And I was drinking water like crazy. Like, I could not get enough water. And then of course I was going to the bathroom all the time because I was drinking all that water. So I was tired and my vision was getting blurry, and I remember I was sitting at the computer typing up paper for my homework, and I was texting my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm really tired, like I don't want to do this, and my vision, it's getting so blurry, I can't even see the screen in front of me, and I was like, and I'm so thirsty and I keep going to the bathroom, and I can't have a full night's sleep without getting up like 3 or 4 times to go to the bathroom. It was crazy. And then I would drink a lot of water too because I was just so thirsty. And then so she asked her friend, she was like, what are these symptoms? Like, what could be wrong with her? And her friend told her, she was like, well, those are all symptoms of like diabetes. And my mom was like, no, like diabetes, that doesn't run in the family. No, we don't have that. She doesn't have that. So turns out she looked up the symptoms of diabetes, and literally I had like either 8 out of 11 or something like that. It was a lot. I had a lot of the symptoms, and so she was like, shoot, dog. So she called my dad, and she was like, y'all have to get her to the hospital, like right now. We need to like schedule an appointment with her doctor, and we need to figure out what's wrong with her, because God told me don't lose Kara, and we can't lose Kara. And so I think that was a Wednesday, and so they got me an appointment on Friday. And my mom actually came to take me. She came home from the hospital to take me to the doctor. And we were sitting there, and they checked my blood sugar. And I remember I was so scared because my mom was like, okay, you need to fast because they might do blood work. And I was like, blood work? I hate needles. I can't do this. But so I fasted. I had dinner, and then I didn't eat until the morning. I actually didn't eat that whole day. Turns out I didn't eat for like 33 hours. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So she took me to the doctor. They did a finger prick. I was like so scared, and the lady did it on this finger in the very center, which was like the most painful spot. And I was just like, thank you for that. But it's okay. It's all good. It healed. So they checked my blood sugar, and then we were sitting there for a while. And then they came back, and they were like, so our endocrinologist is actually like not here, and she's not going to be here until next Wednesday. So y'all can come back next Wednesday and y'all can see her. And then we were like, no, like we need to figure out, you tell me what's wrong with my daughter right now. And so they're like, okay, 1 second. And they like ran out, and they came back. And then they were like, okay, so we actually did look at her blood sugar, and it's running pretty high. So if y'all can promise me that you're not going to stop anywhere on the way, you can drive her to Cook Children's in Dallas. I think it's Dallas. It's either Dallas or Fort Worth. I always get those mixed up. It's my pod. It's going to expire. I have it under my shirt. Hang on. Okay. So they were like, you need to go and don't stop anywhere. Don't stop for food. Don't stop for an accident. If your car catches on fire, do not stop. Keep driving. And so we were like, okay, let's go. So then we were driving, and it takes about like an hour-ish, 45 minutes to an hour to get to the hospital. So my mom was talking to me in the car, and she was like, okay, so most likely you have diabetes. And she was like, hopefully it's type 2, because type 2, it sometimes can be reversible by diet. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I can do that. But she was like, if it's type 1, that's bad news. So I was like, please let it be type 2. But I had no idea anything about like type 1 or type 2. Like, I knew nothing at all. So basically I was just like, please let it be type 2. And then we got to the hospital, and they put a black sticker on my mom's shirt, and they rushed us into the ER, and they got me like an ER room. I don't know what it's called, an ER room. Anyway, and then immediately they had an IV in this hand and an IV in this hand, and they had like 2 different liquids going in, and I was just like, I hate needles. It was the best experience of my entire life. But yeah, so then we were in there for quite some hours. Quite a few hours. That's not how you say it. Quite a few hours. We were in there for quite a few hours, and then I think they had potassium or something going through this IV, and it was burning my hand. Oh wait, it was up here. It was burning my arm so bad, and I was crying, and it hurt. It was, oh my gosh, it was like fire going through my arm, and I was like, it really hurts. So they just had to keep putting ice packs on my arm, but the ice pack would like wear off after 5 minutes, so I'd have to like keep putting ice packs on my arm because it hurt that bad. And so then my mom was like, how much longer of this potassium stuff is she gonna have to go through? And they were like, oh, only a couple more hours. A couple more hours? Like, I could not do a couple more hours. I was in so much pain. So my mom was like, okay, well, we need to get another IV, like up here, so it's not burning her arm. So they were like, sure. So then, yet another IV into my arm, and so now I had like 1, 2, 3. We just had the whole set. And then that felt a lot better. No more potassium burning my arm. It was just going straight into my bigger veins, I think. So that was a miracle. And then I think the doctor came in, and he was like, he didn't even pull my mom aside or anything. He was just like, walk in. Oh, yep, she just got a typical case of juvenile diabetes. Like, that's literally how he said it. And I think I was stunned. I kind of just sat there like, okay, and so now what? Anything else? And my mom, I think she was just sitting there, and she was like, honestly, I don't even remember what she did, but I know that whenever he left, she just starts crying. And I was like, I couldn't cry. I was so stunned. I could not cry. So I was just sitting there, and she was crying, and she was hugging me, and I was like, I don't know what this means. Like, and then it started to hit me, and I was like, I have diabetes. Like, I'm diabetic. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So then, long story short, they moved me to ICU, and I was in there for a couple hours. I think like overnight, from, I don't know, the night to the morning. And it was actually kind of sweet because my brother was in the same hospital at the same time, so he got to come to my ICU room, and he visited me, and he was like, hey. And then my sister came, and it was really sad because whenever she came in with my dad, I could just tell, like, they were smiling, but I could tell that they weren't like actually smiling. It was kind of sad, but like I was smiling too, just like, oh hey guys, hey Avery. But it was one of the worst parts. Was just like seeing them come in, and they were like, this is my sister, this is my daughter in the ICU with 3 IVs, and she's like, I probably looked pale, I probably looked terrible, and it was just one of those moments that you just can't forget, I guess. So after that, I finally got a room, and I stayed there for probably like around a week. And they were running me through all of the trainings, and they were like, okay, nutritionist is going to come in and talk to you for 5 hours about this. And I still remember my mom was talking to the nutritionist, and I was like, I'm so hungry. So I felt like a grown-up. I picked up the phone and I ordered myself lunch. And I was like, I just did that. I just did that. That probably wasn't needed in the story, but I thought it was good. So then, after all the training, we finally got let out. And then we went to, I think as we were driving on the highway back home, I got low. But I was like, I didn't know what a low felt like, because that whole time I was like high in the hospital. And I was like, why am I shaking? Like, what's wrong with me? And I was like, Mom, I'm like really shaky. I think this is what they were talking about. I think I'm low. And she was like, okay. So we pulled over and I checked my blood sugar, but of course I was like checking my blood sugar and it was like so shaky. And I think I was like 60 something and I started freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 60. And we actually stopped by a Subway. So my mom, she didn't know what to do. So she just ran into Subway and she was like, oh, my daughter's diabetic, like, can I have a Coke or something? And they were like, oh yeah, here. And then, so I think that was my first low-ish, maybe? I don't know. And then I do remember when I got home, like that same week, I got my lowest, which I've ever been, and that was around 30 something, and I was laying on the couch, and I was just like going to sleep, and my sister was like, wake up, Kara, like don't go to sleep, and I was like, but I'm tired. And so I know that took longer than it was supposed to take, but that's my diagnosis story. That was long. 12 minutes and 36 seconds. Fun. So yeah, if you are a type 1 diabetic, I challenge you to video yourself sharing your type 1 diabetes diagnosis story and share it with us. I would love to see it. I would love to see your journey and how you've been living through your diabetes and using it for good. So I'm Kara Jane and I'm not wearing my watch. It's too early. What's my blood sugar? 296. I'm not doing great. I don't feel good. I need water. Anyway, hope y'all have a great day and I'll catch you guys in the next video.